Aloha, my friends. It is so good to be here. Aloha. Aloha. And mahalo to Neens and to Tracy for bringing me here today at TEDx. I'm so excited to be here with you and so grateful for all the work that you have put into this amazing conglomeration of thoughtful and hopefully action-oriented presentations here today. I'd also like to thank Christine Liu from Cilantro Media for bringing me out for the Rethink Hawaii conference. So many great things and so many amazing ideas have been shared at this week's gathering of a very eclectic group of folks. And what I'm hoping to do today is to bring to you some, not even suggestions for Hawaii, some hopes, some dreams, some thoughts from my perspective. And as was mentioned in the introduction, I'm not just about going green. I'm in the green space for one thing, and that is children. I'm a mother of 3. And my naval training actually made me a better mom than I probably would have been. If all else fails, grounding, timeouts, just do push-ups, you know. So it's been a great eclectic life that I've lived. And so much of what I'm going to present today comes from that space of being concerned about children and the future that they will inherit, the natural resources that we will either take from them or save for them. And so as I present some things today that may or may not seem glaringly to have to do with sustainability, they're more to do with the economy, but you really have to look at both of those issues in conjunction with one another. So even if you don't have children, if you are at all future focused, whether it's the future of your business, the future of your community, my hope is that you will take some of these thoughts and that later we'll have a dialogue about these thoughts and that they may help the great state of Hawaii provide the best possible future for, what is the word, is it keiki? Keiki, for the children of Hawaii. You know, I think, and this is based upon my travels to China, I've been doing a lot of work all over the world. The Go Green Initiative actually operates in schools in all 50 US states, but we're also in 36 countries around the world. And in the last couple of years, I've done a great deal of work with the China Entrepreneur Club, and we've actually got some schools going there, but I've also been doing some work to help them create sustainable businesses. And so one of the things that I bring from that experience is the idea that there are some new things coming in the 21st century. There will be new fuels to our economy, and I cannot help but believe that Hawaii is perfectly poised to be, to the 21st century, what Silicon Valley was to the 20th century. And what I mean by that, having lived for the last 10 years very near Silicon Valley, is that that is the place where innovation, for the computer industry, for really communicating, and what has allowed all of us to communicate around the world, thanks to everything we're holding in our hands and the laptops that we have, that capability to do that was the fuel of the 20th century. In fact, the Go Green Initiative, my nonprofit organization, certainly wouldn't have gone from my kitchen table, where it started in May of 2002, to a global organization that now has 2.2 million children involved, were it not for the communication tools that originated in Silicon Valley. It's my belief that clean energy will be the fuel for the 21st century, and that Hawaii, because of its sun, its wind, its wave energy, is the perfect place, the perfect incubator to be the Silicon Valley of the 21st century, to be that place where the world gleans its fuel. Now, one of the things that we talk about in China quite a bit, and they're very clearly aware of this, is that a good standard of living depends on many things. Clean water, clean air, clean soil to grow food in. But they also understand that there is a certain amount of kilowatt hours per capita that is associated with GDP, gross domestic product. And they know that there are a certain amount of kilowatt hours per person that are required to have a great standard of living. And one of the challenges that they face is how to provide that requisite number of kilowatt hours per person without polluting their air, without creating situations like we know exist in Beijing, where you can take a picture of the air on many days of the week. If you can take a picture of the air that you're breathing, that's not a healthy situation. And for many of them who have adhered to the one-child policy, their one chance to take their family heritage and their family name and all their hopes and dreams for their family in the future rests on the shoulders of one child. And it's their desire, of course, to provide that one child with a healthy, safe, and prosperous future. And they know that if they want them to enjoy a great standard of living, they're going to have to ramp up their clean energy opportunities so that the energy that will fuel the economy that gives those children a great future will be clean energy. And I believe Hawaii could be at the very vortex of this movement. Right now, everyone from Europe throughout the US is looking west. There's a lot of talk. The latest edition of The Economist magazine has been talking a lot about G2. Will there be a G2 relationship between the US and China? And Hawaii sits right in between. It strikes me as, I'm originally from Illinois, from about an hour from St. Louis. And St. Louis is known as what? The gateway to the West. In many respects, Hawaii is perfectly posed to be that St. Louis, that gateway to the West for the US in the 21st century. As we begin to look west and as we begin to work with our Asian partners, Hawaii is in a perfect position to be a part of that exciting opportunity. One of the things that I noticed when I was doing the research for this particular presentation is that Hawaii has depended, not forever, but for the last few decades on tourism. And because you live in paradise, there's no question, tourism will always be important. But as you can see in the current economy, and it would be irresponsible of me not to discuss the elephant in the room, economic times are hard in Hawaii, as it is everywhere. But you're in a unique position in that your economy being so dependent upon the whims and the economic status of visitors, as tourism is your main economy, you're very, very dependent on the economies of other places. Wouldn't it be great if you had an economy that you could control more readily? And high tech and clean energy is just one example of how you could create an atmosphere to draw small businesses, to draw technology to Hawaii, and develop an economic situation that allows a career path for your children, that allows a career path for your residents for a long amount of time to be on the cutting edge of what will become the world's economy. And it strikes me that perhaps there are ways that every person in this room could participate in bringing that kind of an economy, one that's more controllable, one that's more manageable, to the state of Hawaii. And here are some things that I think might be helpful if you decide as a state to move in that direction. One of the things that small businesses and certainly high-tech businesses and clean tech businesses are looking for is an educated workforce. So I've been reading about Furlough Fridays. Very, very difficult situation. I know that a lot of parents are concerned about what are we going to do? We don't have daycare situations for our children on Friday. They used to be going to school on these Fridays. And the children are going to be missing out on some educational opportunities that are very, very sad. And in order to draw new businesses, particularly ones that will deal with this fuel of the 21st century, education reform and attention to education must be paramount because those companies will need a highly skilled, well-trained workforce. So that's one place to begin. That's not something that happens overnight, but it's certainly an important ingredient. Tax incentives to bring businesses to the state. I live in California. One of the advertisements we hear on radio and TV all of the time doesn't come from our own state, it comes from Nevada. And they're talking to small business owners saying, we've got all these tax incentives. It's easy to do business in Nevada. Why don't you come across the border? And some businesses do because of that very reason. They've made it easy to do business in the state of Nevada. And California has got some lessons to learn. We're the Golden State, and we hope that we'll stay the Golden State, but Hawaii can learn from these kinds of situations how to lure, how to draw, and how to incentivize businesses to come to your state. You already have all the ingredients of a great standard of living, the weather, the people, the culture. But if you can also create the fiscal incentives for businesses to settle here, then you've got everything you need to bring business your way. And finally, good PR. You guys know how to do it with tourism. I mean, from the time that I can remember looking at magazines, newspapers, brochures of any kind, we've all seen how well Hawaii can advertise itself. But now is the time to advertise your other attributes, the things that would bring high-tech and sustainable companies to the state of Hawaii. Recently, Fortune magazine for small business listed the top 50 cities in which to start a new business. I was dismayed to find that not a single one of them was in California, but I was also dismayed to find that none of them were in Hawaii. There is no reason why Honolulu or other Hawaiian cities couldn't have been on that list. You have, like I said, all of the necessary ingredients, but it's a matter of promoting that aspect of who you are and what you can offer companies. And it's a matter of turning all that PR machine, all that marketing machine that you've put into tourism, into the kind of media outlets who would be promoting your business-friendly environment to the rest of the world. And as much as we've seen you in travel magazines, let's see Hawaii in Fortune, in Forbes, in all of these other places, Investors Business Daily. Let's see you there. And I'd love to see what happens when small business owners realize, I can wear a Hawaiian shirt, go to work in flip-flops, live in paradise, and make money and create jobs. That's a winning situation for the state of Hawaii. I can't help but put a little plug in for this, because Hawaii is in a unique situation where you have some decisions to make about what the role of your public policy will be in fueling your economy for the 21st century. Now, I have biases in this arena that I cannot hide, but I do believe that government has an appropriate role in the business community, but a limited role in the business community. American business has always thrived on a simple notion of government, leave me alone. And so, inasmuch as I would encourage the state of Hawaii to create tax incentives, to create business incentives to come to the state of Hawaii and create jobs in the state of Hawaii, I would encourage lawmakers, public policy setters from the local and state level of Hawaii to avoid some of the pitfalls that other states, which I will not name, but I am well familiar with, have made when it comes to dealing with the business community in their states. And that is, once businesses come and get very, very successful, state legislators begin to look at businesses as one of two things. Either an ATM machine to continue to tax them so that they can pay for social programs and expand the role of government, or as something to disdain. Successful businesses and entrepreneurs as something to perhaps look down upon as, ooh, these big business, it's something scary or something anti the culture. When in fact, successful businesses can be the best friend of local communities, creating jobs for students and creating infrastructure that's important to your standard of living. Now, of course, the state of Hawaii will make its own decisions about what kind of businesses you'd like to see come in and what kind of infrastructure you're willing to support. I know that with the tourist industry, it doesn't always please Native Hawaiians to see hotel after hotel. So maybe part of the discussion needs to be, what are we willing to put in terms of infrastructure? What do we want the landscape to look like? And lure the kind of businesses here that fit that model. And so there is a role for government in that. But let it be an appropriate role when it comes to dealing with the business community, and let the business community be at the table when decisions about the business is being made, when about the business environment and the economic development issues are being made. Let business be at the table. There we go. This is one example of work that I've done in China. I'm on a think tank in Beijing that's sponsored by the China Entrepreneur Club. Now, you would think in a communist country like China that perhaps the government is so efficient that when it comes to environmental protection, sustainability, green business, that they could simply mandate certain constraints or certain ordinances and businesses just come along. Well, the China Entrepreneur Club is a group of folks that we would consider kind of our Fortune 50 rock stars in the US in terms of business. And they've gotten together and they've said, the government is not playing an aggressive enough role. We want to set business standards set by business people that will encourage companies to be more sustainable but also successful. And what you see here are some of the criteria that we've worked on, that I've worked on for the last couple of years with the Chinese. I'm the only American on this think tank, actually. And we've set together these types of standards to help accomplish two things: to recognize and reward businesses who not only own their market share, who are very successful businesses, but businesses that operate in a sustainable, long-term way. And it's not inconceivable at all that the state of Hawaii and its business community couldn't adopt these very same standards. Take them, use them. They're free, they're yours. These are great ideas, and the Chinese are beginning to see a great deal of success. So there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. If the business community wants to take the lead in creating economic development situations that are great for business and are also great for the future of the state, This is one intensely successful model that continues to grow year after year. I've already talked a little bit about this. Outsiders are used to seeing you all in travel magazines. They know that you're beautiful. They know that you're lush. They know that you're welcoming. And I, for one, this is my first trip to Hawaii, and I promise you it will not be my last. I have fallen in love with the state of Hawaii and want to come back many, many times over. I feel honored to be your visitor here, and I want to tread lightly. One of the things I'd love to see is more and more people come and experience not only your beautiful landscape, but the beautiful richness of your people, and to consider what would happen if they brought their enterprises here, and not just another surf shop, and not just another place to buy suntan oil, but a place where great ideas and the very best of your children's innovation and intellect were engaged in meaningful work that helped them live a great standard of living. I would love to see more and more effort being put on that type of promotion of the great state of Hawaii. Fortune magazine for small business, which I mentioned a few moments ago, gave us some great ideas and gave us the criteria by which they judged the top 50 cities in which to start a new business. This is it. They've given you the formula. So why not promote yourselves? You already have many of these things, don't you? I'll bet you recognize attributes about the great state of Hawaii in this list that already exist. The question is, who knows that? Do people who are looking to start a new business and they're looking for a great place to do it know that you have low crime? Do they know that you have other attributes that you see here? Now, some of the things that you'll see up here on this list, you'll know right away. Hawaii, affordable rent, I'm not sure. And so these are things you can work on. But for every attribute that you're working on, and every attribute of a great business community that you already have, don't keep it a secret. Let people know. Let those entrepreneurs of the 21st century who are fueling our economy know that Hawaii is the place to be. I don't want you to shift too much. I know that that's the theme of this tremendous gathering. Don't shift from the things that are assets from this great state. Don't shift from being wonderful, welcoming, beautiful people in a beautiful paradise location. Don't lose that. But if you can shift to a place where you're so proud of it that you bring others in to prosper the way that your culture has prospered, we're all the better for it. I love Hawaii. Aloha and mahalo for having me here. And thank you so much to our organizers of TEDxHonolulu.